Órale, esto chico Juggalo972. Sorry, I don't know what came over me. What up, y'all? It's your boy Juggalo972 here, and welcome to Ask Juggalo972 Pro Wrestling Edition. Hope you like the lucha mask that my sister-in-law gave me for Christmas. Thank you, Dana. And let's get to the question, shall we? You know what? For this Ask Juggalo972, the Pro Wrestling Edition, I'll do it with my mask on. What do you say? Let's do it this way. There we go. Much better. The first question comes from Lil Psycho. He asked two questions. He asked, how do you feel about CM Punk's return to AEW so far? What are some of your favorite WCW matches from both ICP and Vampiro? I do personally like CM Punk's return to AEW. It's been really cool how they've been using him. And, you know, I think it's also one of those things that they're not oversaturating, which, if you ask me, helps. Let's see. And as far as my favorite WCW matches from both ICP and Vampiro, I gotta tell you, I didn't watch too much Vampiro and WCW because I was going back and forth and I never caught everything. However, I did love seeing ICP and Vampiro perform as the Deadpool as well, and I believe Raven was a part of it as well. Although I will say, when it comes to Vampiro, I really enjoyed watching him and the Great Muta win the WCW Tag Team Championships. And I also read Behind the Paint, actually, correction, not Behind the Paint, Eddie Guerrero's book, who actually put over ICP for actually wanting to listen and learn too. So to me, if you ask me, if you get put over by Eddie Guerrero in your ICP, then that's saying something. Also, any opinions about Darby Allin whatsoever? I love the dude because skating and wrestling are both my favorite sports, so it's pretty dope to see someone do both at once. Me personally though, I think Darby's actually pretty cool. You know, I do like the fact that, you know, for one, he's straight edge. I can dig that though. So it's very punk rock of him to, you know, to do that as well. Two, it's really cool to see him, you know, being teamed up with Sting too. You know, someone like that though, you know, someone as young as him and somebody, you know, with as much experience as Sting has. You know, it's really cool to see, you know, somebody, you know, put him under his tutelage as well, because that's a wealth of knowledge right now too. Specifically, you know, somebody, you know, in the old WCW ranks and the old NWA ranks as well. Not to mention a former multi-time NWA/WCW World Champion too. So there's no better position to be put in other than to be put together, you know, with the icon himself too. So that's a position to learn right there. And if I was in his position, I would just be picking at his ear as much as I could. The next question comes from Anime Waifu, the Hip Hop Head. Are you going to watch Wrestle Kingdom 16 coming up January 4th to watch Secret Takagi and Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship? I'll be watching both January 4th and January 5th and January 8th as well. Because you remember, night 2, whoever wins that world title match goes up against Will Ospreay in the main event of the second night too. Also, I'll also be I don't know if I'm gonna order it on paper on the Viva pay-per-view. I think it's what it is. But I'll be watching Pro Wrestling Noah versus New Japan on Wrestle Kingdom 16 Night 3 in Yokohama. They're doing that for the Japanese Red Cross, I believe. I don't remember what they're doing it for though, but I know the Japanese Red Cross is providing support for people with COVID and COVID vaccines too. Second, what are your predictions for AEW and New Japan in the year 2022? The way the world is right now, I predict, you know, more New Japan Strong versus AEW, and there's a lot of collaborative efforts going on right now as well. So, and they're already being showed too. So look at guys like Jay White against Christopher Daniels. I don't know if that's already happened yet. Not to mention looking at Buddy Murphy against Kazuchika Okada. Buddy Murphy, the new Buddy Murphy is because he's no longer with WWE. So, I don't know. Anything could happen. Never say never. And if it does happen, I really hope to at least get to see Kenny and Okada 5. That's what I'm hoping for. And finally, the last question comes from Craig Strachan, and he asks, what would be the dream you would want to have, or dream matches you would want to have? WWE, AEW, New Japan, Impact, your choice. Okay, so I saved this one for last though, simply because I wanted to put together some things that would never happen now versus what I want to happen. Let's start with 2 dream matches that will never happen, okay? The first one that always comes to mind for me though will always be Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, against Tanahashi. Frog Splash versus Frog Splash. Especially, you know, since they, not to mention, you know, in their prime, just know how to work. Personally, though, I love my personal favorite Tanahashi match was against Tetsuya Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 11. I loved watching how they wrestled. Not just wrestled, but how they just worked the crowd. You know, Naito, just being cocky, self-arrogant and whatnot, though, just tranquilo, plain and simple. And how Tanahashi, the ace, was not going to just stand against that, though. And someone like, Eddie Guerrero, someone like Eddie Guerrero just being able to outmatch him, because he was so good in the ring, in terms of just in ring, in terms of being someone you could just get behind and love, someone you could really hate too. Let's see, another dream match I would like to have is Tetsuya Naito against Rick Rude. Just two narcissistic, just self-absorbed gentlemen like that too. And honestly though, who wouldn't want to like to see just to see Rick Rude just flourish around too? Not to mention Rick Rude was also the first Gaijin before Carl Anderson to make it to the finals in the G1 Climax too. So that says a lot. Naito is also a G1 Climax winner as well. Next, me personally though, I would love to see Onita and Jon Moxley. Two wild things from the old school in Japan, wild thing of today. Do I need to say anything more? Oh, and let's see. You know what? An old-fashioned FMW style exploding ring match with Onita. I would love to see that. Let's dip into the tag team pool a little bit. Let's see. My dream match for tag team pool this year. Let's see. I've got two. Number one, Gorillas of Destiny against FTR. That right there. Matter of fact, GOD versus FTR. 2 out of 3 falls. Next, the Young Bucks against the reunited Red Dragon, aka Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. However, I would love to see that done in a Lucha Libre style tag team match. Lucha rules meaning you go out of the ring, counts as a tag. Look up Lucha rules, you know what I'm talking about. In terms of AEW, Adam Cole versus Darby Allin. And something that will never ever happen as well. And this one will sound controversial. But, and I do feel like, it would be the subject of both cancel culture, but at the same time, though, as controversial as it can be, it would be one of those things that, I don't know if TV would need it, though, but it would be something I would love to see. I would love to see the Un-Americans come back. Now, hear me out on this little subject. The Un-Americans, I'm talking about, bringing back the Un-Americans, not as a stable, but as a multi-branded stable. Almost like, how WCW and ECW during the Invasion era, or the first ECW Invasion to promote, the Barely Legal pay-per-view. Now, here's what I mean by multi-branded. I'm talking a brand on SmackDown and a brand on Raw. It don't need to be on NXT, because I feel like it would be something that NXT, it would be one of those things that would tarnish it in a weird way, though, but at the same time, I feel like, it just wouldn't fit. Now, hear me out. Each brand would have a specific leader. Now, for the SmackDown side, I would choose Mustafa Ali. I'm not talking about, what he did with Retribution, that low-grade WWE-style Antifa kind of shit that we saw. No, not like that. I'm talking, someone like Mustafa Ali, somebody, who's fighting for a cause. That kind of Mustafa Ali. He is American. He is from Chicago, although he is of Arab descent. Now, the tag team that I would have with Mustafa Ali, I would bring back La Resistance. I'm talking Sylvain Grenier and Rene Dupree. The original. Don't get me wrong, I love Rob Conway, but the Rob Conway of today is very much, delved deep into the NWA right now. Nice guy, by the way, too. I've worked shows with him. And your wild card. Every faction needs a wild card. And that wild card would be Buddy Murphy. He's Australian. Now, even for a mouthpiece, as weird as it may sound though, even though he's retired, I would bring back Muhammad Hassan. Another American who played a character, even though he's of Jordanian and Italian descent. Muhammad Hassan could cut a promo. Not to mention he could bring people in and make you hate him just because he told the truth. Even back in 2005, right before the London bombings happened, and how, Arab people, were very much, stereotyped, pulled over, or not pulled over, but stopped, at the by TSA, at the airport, stuff like that, though. Yeah, jokes as joking as it was, though, it was very much a shoot in one of those ways too. Now, let's move to the Raw brand. The leader that I would choose for the Raw brand would be Damian Priest, aka formerly in Ring of Honor Punishment Martinez. And the tag team that I would choose to go with him, mind you, Damian Priest is Puerto Rican too, so it would kind of blur the gray lines between American and American territories. I could see that happening. And the tag team that I would have with him, Barthel and Eichner from Imperium, hands down, 2 Europeans. And for your wild card, I would choose, of course, Alexander Wolf. Why not have Imperium with Damian Priest? Because in terms of coming together, every great faction comes together not as just of the same ethnicity or the same background. They come together for a cause. And this cause for the Un-Americans has always been about not just tarnishing America though, but more about equality. And also, here's the other concept to go with it too. The concept for this, I would choose to also to have them all reveal themselves to not being the main leader, but there's also somebody far deeper in the background pulling the strings. And the way I would build this up is I would build this up by having a team, both Raw and SmackDown superstars, and even an NXT superstar to put onto it as well for the 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. And the people that I would choose, let's start with the tag team. I would bring in La Resistance and Barthel and Eichner as the 4, and to reveal himself as the true leader of the Un-Americans. Before you know it, then you hear this theme in the background. Yes, Walter, the Ring General. Because why the fuck not? I don't need to explain it any more than that. And that was Juggalo972, the Pro Wrestling Edition. I had a lot of fun doing this one too. And you know what? As a person that's also worked in masks before, I've never ever worked in a lucha mask. But if I were to ever come back in pro wrestling, I don't think I could wrestle in this. My cardio is good though, but you know what? I am not lucha good. But I gotta admit though, this is a pretty awesome mask. It really is. Anyway, that was Juggalo972. Thank you for everybody sending in your questions. Much love. Peace. God bless. Be good to each other, and I'll see you in the new year.